Yo, YouTube, what's up with your boy, Sports and Fitness Rants? I'm back, guys. Hit that like button. Subscribe to my channel. What's up, y'all? Welcome back, guys. Welcome back, man. Got another great video for you guys today, as usual, man. You guys know the deal on this channel. It's all about setting the record straight, stopping the lies, stopping the narratives, stopping them from rewriting history, guys. And in this video, I want to talk about some comments I heard from Shaquille O'Neal. And once again, Shaquille O'Neal, I don't get these guys. They embarrass themselves when they talk, when they say these things. They think that they're pumping themselves up. They think that they're talking cool and, telling a funny story or something, man, and, pumping themselves up. And Shaq admits that he never really worked hard to keep himself in shape. He's admitting this, and he's talking about the reason as to why he was traded from the Miami Heat. He's telling the story, and he really thinks that he's painting himself in a good light by telling the story. And I'm listening to this clip I saw on Instagram. Like I said, I think he's on an interview at some podcast or something. Everyone has a podcast now. Everybody wants to go and talk on a microphone. And Shaquille O'Neal was talking about when he was traded from Miami Heat and why he was traded from Miami Heat. He's telling the story about how him and Pat Riley bumped heads and how Pat Riley wanted him to be in better shape and, all this stuff. And Shaq was basically laughing at him like, yo, man, I'm not going to be in shape and blah, 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 blah. And Shaq, once again, pumping himself up, exaggerating his career to make himself look better, or he thinks, when he's really not. And we're going to talk about this video, man. Once again, Shaquille O'Neal admitting that he didn't work hard to keep himself in shape. And that's part of the reason as to why he got traded from the Miami Heat, man. We're going to talk about this video, guys. And I want to thank you guys, everyone across the world, everyone across the states, man, that's been supporting my channel. Once again, you guys know I am truly, truly humbled, man. Much respect to all you guys out there. Like I said, that continue to support my channel, man. It means a lot. You guys donate, all that stuff, man. Real recognize real, man. Shout out to everybody in the membership. And you guys know what to do. Turn the volume all the way up. Hit that play button. Remember, these videos are for educational purposes. And let's roll. So, yes, guys, like I said, man, give me a second. So, like I said, I was on Instagram yesterday, and I saw this clip of Shaquille O'Neal talking on a podcast. He's being interviewed somewhere, and, I tell you guys all the time, man, I like Shaquille O'Neal, a basketball player. Great basketball player. I loved him when he played basketball, man, because he had the swag and he had the charisma, right? He had a personality, Shaquille O'Neal, right? So most of us, we really like Shaquille O'Neal, man. So I always tell you guys, this is not a personal thing against Shaquille O'Neal or a lot of these guys as far as the players go. But these guys sell their integrity, man. And I lose respect for them, the people that they are, when I hear them speak. So over the last, 5 years or so, social media has become huge, especially podcasts have become huge. Everyone has a podcast now. Everyone's got something to say. Everybody wants to tell a story. Everybody wants to exaggerate themselves, right? Everyone wants to pump themselves up. Nobody wants to be honest with themselves. Nobody wants to have humility here. And Shaquille O'Neal's no different. Shaquille O'Neal, we've heard over the years, I'm the most dominant. I'm the most dominant of all time. Y'all can barbecue chicken. It's barbecue chicken over here. If I was playing, I'd do this. Always pumping himself up. Shaquille O'Neal lacks any kind of humility. And this man was raised by a military man. He was raised by a military man. And Shaquille O'Neal acts as if he didn't have any else values instilled in him. No honor. No class. Like I said, no humility. My goodness, the things that Shaquille O'Neal says over and over again on these microphones, not honorable at all, man. Classless statements oftentimes. And like I said, always trying to over-exaggerate himself. So in this clip that I heard him speaking, they're talking about, or he's telling a story as to why he was traded from the Miami Heat. All right, why they traded him off the team. Because you remember, he was there, I believe, for maybe 3 years. I know he was there in 05, 06, and I think 07. I want to say he was there. And he's saying why he was traded, right? So he's telling a story about him and Pat Riley. And Pat Riley came up to him one day and was like, hey, I need you to be in better shape. I need you to be like Alonzo Mourning. That's what he said that Pat Riley told him. I need you to be like Alonzo Mourning. He said that he called Alonzo Mourning in, and he said that he wanted Shaq to look like Alonzo Mourning, like his body type to look like Alonzo Mourning. He wanted him to lose body fat, right? To have a lower body fat percentage. Just what he was saying that Pat Riley wanted from him. And we all understand what Pat Riley's trying to do here. He's trying to help Shaquille O'Neal and maintain a certain level of longevity for his career, right? Maintain his ability, his play level for more years. So if you keep yourself in better shape, right, you make smart nutritional choices, right? And you continue to do those things in the offseason to have yourself prepared for an NBA season, that's only going to help Shaquille O'Neal. And in turn, it's going to help the Miami Heat, is it not? the better version of Shaquille O'Neal and Pat Riley can get, the better it is for the Miami Heat, right? Now, we all know that the Miami Heat winning championship in 2006. But Shaquille O'Neal speaks as if he was the one that led the team to a championship. And Shaquille O'Neal was very good still in the Miami Heat in 2006. No one's saying that he was carried to a championship or that he was a bum or anything like that. But Shaquille O'Neal talks as if he was that guy, as if he was leading the Miami Heat there. He did not lead them there or lead them to the championship in the finals. He did not, guys. All right, Shaquille O'Neal, I believe, averaged 13 points a game in the NBA Finals. 13 points a game, guys, in the NBA Finals. Is that saying someone who's dominating or leading the team to a championship? Because Shaquille O'Neal was saying a lot of weird things in this interview. Like I said, telling the story about Pat Riley. And then he proceeded to basically trash Alonzo Mourning, because this is what these guys do now. He's a trash Alonzo Mourning by telling a story that he told Pat Riley when Pat Riley brought this up. And he wanted to eat better and look more like Alonzo Mourning and lose body fat and blah, blah, blah. Shaquille O'Neal said, I had to pull out, I wrote some of this stuff down, guys. Excuse me here. I want to try to get you guys the gist here. He said this: I pulled out my piece of paper on his ass. I don't even know what that means. He said, I pulled out my piece of paper on his ass. And he says, this is how much I averaged on Alonzo. So essentially what Shaq is saying is that when Pat Riley was telling him, remember, Alonzo Mourning was on the Miami Heat, guys. When Pat Riley was explaining, trying to tell him, get him to understand, why he wants him to be in better shape and to try to look more like Alonzo Mourning or take a page from Alonzo Mourning's book as far as the physical fitness and, his diet and stuff like that, Shaquille O'Neal proceeded to, like I said, downplay Alonzo Mourning and, him being in shape by highlighting that Shaquille O'Neal, I dominated Alonzo Mourning. And Shaquille O'Neal said that he had a piece of paper with all of his stats versus Alonzo Mourning. Who keeps a piece of paper with your stats on it? I'm so confused when these guys talk and nothing adds up. So Shaquille O'Neal essentially is telling us that he kept a piece of paper in his pocket with his stats versus Alonzo Mourning. And he said he proceeded to tell him, I averaged 37 points against Alonzo Mourning. I averaged this many rebounds and this many blocks, and I did this, and you know what I'm saying? So I don't care about Alonzo Mourning eating salads and what he looked like. So Shaq says this from the top, guys. He says, dictatorship couldn't work on me. So he was calling Pat Riley in the Miami Heat a dictatorship. Think about that. Shaquille O'Neal is coming off in this interview, what I'm hearing, as LeBron James-esque. This is LeBron James type behavior when he was in Miami, right? Not wanting to conform, not wanting to follow the rules, or like I said, bend, or any of this kind of stuff. Remember that we heard about the cookies incident, right? Remember he wanted Eric Spoelstra fired because LeBron James was being held to a standard. He wasn't trying to be held to that standard. Similar thing here for Shaquille O'Neal. Pat Riley was trying to hold a certain standard, right? And Shaquille O'Neal's like, nah, man, who are you? He called him a dictatorship. These guys use words, they over-exaggerate and use these words that are disturbing to me. You think that Pat Riley and the Miami Heat organization is a dictatorship? My man, why don't you go fly to Cuba and talk to the people who had to live through Fidel Castro and let them know about what you think a dictatorship is? Please, I would love to hear their opinions of you saying that Pat Riley is a dictatorship. Right? Go to some of these other countries that have true dictatorships, and you let me know, Shaquille O'Neal, if it's similar to what you had to deal with in Miami. You sound like a straight fool. Like you always do. Every time I hear Shaq, he sounds stupid. Straight stupid. Because he's trying to over-exaggerate, over-inflate, and pump up stuff, and make up weird stories that don't add up. Of dictatorship couldn't work on me because you're so tough. Shaq is so tough. Who do you think you are? I'm Shaquille O'Neal. Yeah, he's Pat Riley. He got more championships than you. See, once again, Shaq not having any respect for Pat Riley, acting like, who the hell's Pat Riley? Dude, Pat Riley's got more championships. You got more cash than you do. Like I said, man, he was a straight-up G, Pat Riley, a grown man, a true competitor. Right? Out here trying to get you to be a better version of yourself when you talk about dictatorship. What a clown. Then he said, this is really the disturbing part, too, for Shaquille O'Neal. This is what he's saying to Pat Riley, right? He's like, I don't have to conform to you and listen to you trying to get me to eat better and do all this stuff. He says, before I got to you, I was in the finals 4 out of the 5 years. This is what Shaquille O'Neal says to Pat Riley. Before I got to you, I was in the finals 4 out of the 5 years. Really? You by yourself, Shaquille O'Neal? You went to the finals by yourself? You didn't have Kobe Bryant and a bunch of other really good players on that team. See, once again, Shaquille O'Neal pumping himself up. He was carrying the Lakers to 4 of those 5 championships because he's Shaquille O'Neal. I would love Shaquille O'Neal to break down who he went against in these finals. Please, Shaquille O'Neal, you name me the centers you went against. Rick Smits, Dikembe Mutombo, Jason Collins, Now, I want you guys to name me the ages, or list the ages of Rick Smits and Dikembe Mutombo, and you let me know, does Shaquille O'Neal go against any of these primetime players in their primes? Rick Smits was not in his prime. Dikembe Mutombo, not in his prime, even though Dikembe Mutombo was still very good. Was it 94 Dikembe Mutombo, or 95 Mutombo? Was it? No, it wasn't, man. It was 2001 Mutombo. That's who Shaquille O'Neal was playing against. But once again, I digress. Shaquille O'Neal and his fans, they never want to come to terms with the facts of reality. Shaquille O'Neal was dominating in the NBA Finals, going against no one at the center position. So he did essentially what he was supposed to do, right? Not saying that they didn't beat any good teams or, you know what I'm saying, that he was being carried out there. But let's be real. Shaq put up these numbers, not impressive. You didn't do that against Hakeem Olajuwon. You didn't do it against Patrick Ewing or David Robinson, did you? No, you did not in the finals. You didn't against nobodies, all right? Now let's continue here. So he goes, so I'm not going to do no body fat. This is what he's saying. I don't eat effing salad. Cheeseburgers is what I eat. So this is what he's saying to Pat Riley. Before I got to you, I was in the finals 4 to 5 years. So I'm not doing no body fat. I don't eat effing salad. Cheeseburgers is what I eat. This is what he's saying, man. Shaquille O'Neal sounds ridiculous, man. Once again, they say effing salads because these guys always have to curse for no reason. You know what's funny? I heard Shaquille O'Neal talking in like another interview, and he just cursed, but a bunch of curses for no reason. And he had to apologize because he saw a kid sitting in the front row when he was speaking at this interview or wherever the forum that he was at. So once again, I always tell you guys, these guys have no class, man. They don't know how to speak intelligently. They cannot articulate their points. Shaquille O'Neal's not smart. Let's be real. He might have a business savvy, but let's not make no mistakes about it. You have to have money to make money, guys, right? Shaquille O'Neal didn't make all these crazy investments with zero money. The man was a millionaire, all right? So shout out to Shaquille O'Neal and his business savvy, but as far as articulating his points, and talking and telling a story, the man sound like a straight fool. Right? Like I said, you guys curse for no reason. Effing salads. Man, that's the problem for you, Shaq. You didn't want to do those. You didn't want to make those sacrifices. And this is why your career ended up being the way it was. But Pat Riley was trying to help you out here. And once again, you took it as a personal slight because you're Shaquille O'Neal. You think you're bigger than the game. You think you're bigger than Pat Riley. You're bigger than the Miami Heat organization. This is Shaquille O'Neal's mindset. Straight clown. And then he continues. So like I said, then he pulled up the piece of paper and then proceeded to talk about how many points and rebounds and all the stuff that he averaged against Alonzo Mourning and stuff. I don't remember ever hearing Pat Riley saying that Alonzo Mourning was greater than Shaquille O'Neal or that he should play like Alonzo Mourning. The point that Pat Riley made, which is still valid to this day, which is still valid even though Shaquille O'Neal was talking crazy, is that he wanted him to take a page from Alonzo Mourning as far as fitness and health goes. And I don't think anyone will disagree that Alonzo Mourning was in much greater shape than Shaquille O'Neal. Right? So, I just don't get what Shaquille is trying to say here by saying, oh, I destroyed Alonzo Mourning. Great for you. You were a greater player than Alonzo Mourning. No one's arguing that you were not. No one's saying that Alonzo Mourning was right next to you or just as good as you or you weren't as great as Alonzo Mourning. So, I don't know what you're saying here. You're trying to take away from Alonzo Mourning by saying you dominated him in the head-to-head matchups, but no one said that he was better than you. You're just you're deflecting off the seriousness of the facts here that Pat Riley was giving you. And once again, your career is a perfect example of how you jacked it all up. Shaquille O'Neal should have had so many more quality years to his career, but instead we got to watch Shaquille O'Neal on the Cavaliers. We got to watch Shaquille O'Neal on the Boston Celtics. We got to watch him on the Phoenix Suns. Right? We got to watch him on some of these teams, man, looking like a straight fool out there. Not doing anything because he wasn't in shape, right? He couldn't move late in his career because he didn't want to do the things that Pat Riley was asking him to do in 2005, 2006, 2007. He didn't want to do those things. And that's why your career ended up the way it did, Shaquille O'Neal. That's the way it ended up, man, the way it did. Those last 4 or 5 years of Shaquille O'Neal's career is an absolute joke. It's embarrassment. He's a shell of himself because he did not keep himself in condition, in shape. Right? Shaquille O'Neal didn't retire and come back some years later and he wasn't in shape. The man was always playing, but never came into camp in shape like that. And one of the things that he said that really didn't make any sense to me is he said this at the end. He says, remember, I won as skinny Shaq, medium Shaq, and as fat Shaq. Can someone tell me when Shaquille O'Neal won an NBA championship as skinny Shaq? Because to me, skinny Shaq was Orlando Shaq. Those 4 years in Orlando, what was that? 93, 94, 95, 96. 4 years in Orlando he played. To me, that's skinny Shaq. Even if you want to include the first couple of years in LA, 97, 98, even if you want to include 1999, to me, that's not skinny Shaq anymore. But if you wanted to include the first couple of years, he didn't win a championship as skinny Shaq. Shaquille O'Neal won a championship as medium Shaq. Medium Shaq was winning championships on the Lakers. That was medium Shaq, guys. When Shaq became quote-unquote fat Shaq, like he said, he didn't win a damn thing. He did not win a damn thing. Because if he's trying to say that he was fat Shaq in 2006, when he won a championship on the Miami Heat, that's great. If you want to claim that, that's great. But once again, you didn't lead nobody nowhere. You were a role player. You were a bus rider. So much so, like I just mentioned, Shaquille O'Neal averaged 13 points a game in the NBA Finals, guys, in 06. 13 points a game. Now, I'm not trying to throw shade at Shaquille O'Neal by reading off his statistics. I think it was, 13 points and 9 rebounds. Because everything's not about the statistics, is it? No. But, like I mentioned, guys, he was the number 3 scorer in the Finals behind Dwayne Wade and, I can't remember who the other scorer was that was leading the scorer on that team. But he was number 3, Shaquille O'Neal, the third leading scorer. All right? No doubt. But I want you guys to answer me this. Shaquille O'Neal, I ask you this. Who the hell were you going against in 2006 NBA Finals? Who was your direct matchup at the center position for the Dallas Mavericks that season? Anybody remember? You probably don't remember because they didn't have a damn center. They had Eric Dampier. And it's no knock on Eric Dampier, man. He was okay. It's Eric Dampier. Eric Dampier ain't sniffing a starting role in the NBA in the 90s. But in the 2006 Mavericks, he was their starting center. Who was their backup center? Sagana Diop, I think. I could be off on it. I could have sworn it was like Eric Dampier and like Sagana Diop, I want to say, was like their 2 big men. This was Shaquille O'Neal was going against, and you average 13 points a game going against those dudes? Come on, man, stop it. Insane. You guys understand that Shaquille O'Neal in that finals that he's, bragging about how he won as Fat Shaq or whatever he's doing. I don't know what the hell he's doing. He sounds like an idiot. He averaged 13.7 points a game, and he shot 29% from the free throw line. 29% from the free throw line, guys. 29% in the finals from the free throw line. So what did Shaquille O'Neal do to impact or help his team win? He was there. He played a role. Right? And like I said, a very minor role at that. Dwayne Wade averaged 34.7. So Shaquille O'Neal had his point output doubled by his teammate. More than doubled, almost tripled by his teammate. That's called a role player, guys. That's what Shaquille O'Neal was. 29% from the free throw line. And it's crazy because Shaquille O'Neal had 19 turnovers in that finals. He had 17 assists. Shaquille O'Neal averaged, I'm trying to think, that season. I'm trying to think what he averaged that season. I think he averaged 3.7 turnovers and like 1.7 assists that season. Is anyone impressed with these numbers? I don't get this, man. So once again, guys, I don't get Shaq. I think he was 14 for 48 at the free throw line in the finals. 14 for 48 at the free throw line. But Shaquille out here running his mouth. Oh, yeah, man, I ain't got to get in shape. Why I got to get in shape? I'm getting in shape. I'm Shaquille O'Neal. You're Pat Riley. You're nobody. Shaq, man, you like I said, man, you're cringe as hell when you talk, dude. Stop trying to rewrite the history and pump yourself up. You didn't come in camp in shape for many, many years, right? And that's part of the problem why Kobe Bryant didn't want to play with you anymore, right? That's part of the reason why they picked Kobe Bryant over you. Because you didn't have the heart. You didn't have the grit. And once again, you didn't have the work ethic to earn it. So like we always say, Shaquille O'Neal had the potential to be the greatest player of all time. He absolutely did. But did Shaquille O'Neal become the greatest player of all time? No, not even close. Not even the greatest center of all time. Because he didn't have the work ethic. And that's what he got called out by Pat Riley with. And he's over here trying to tell a story and be funny. But dude, you sound ridiculous. You're not funny. You're embarrassing yourself. I'm embarrassed for you. This is how you talk to Pat Riley? This was your attitude about being in shape? You trying to crap on Alonzo Mourning as if Pat Riley was saying that you're not as great as Alonzo Mourning. No one knows where you're going with this. You had a piece of paper with your stats versus Alonzo Mourning on it? You're weird, Shaq. You're weird. And you call the Miami Heat a dictatorship. I don't eat effing salads. I eat cheeseburgers. Yeah, and that's why you ended up the way you did. Right? That's why you look like hell now. These guys don't take care of themselves. Shaq didn't take care of himself. That's why he couldn't do anything later in his career. He just used his size and barreled into guys. I tell you guys all the time, if Shaquille O'Neal couldn't play that way in the 2000s, he would have never done anything. He was able to dominate because he was allowed to use his physicality to that degree. And that's not a knock. And that's great for Shaq. I'm glad he did. But if he wasn't able to do it like that, what would he have done? What would he have done? And how often was he in foul trouble? Like I said, the men average 13 points a game in the NBA Finals, guys. 13 points a game. All right? Like I said, man, not impressed when, like I said, you're 29% of the free throw line. Boy, you have talking this nonsense, man. I was in the finals 4 to 5 years before I got to you guys. What? The arrogance of these guys. There's no bounds, man. No bounds, man. So as you guys can see, man, another, I don't even know what to say. Like I said, Shaq admits that he did not work on his or keep himself in shape and didn't work to keep himself in shape, because it didn't matter to him like that because he was Shaquille O'Neal. He didn't have to be in shape because he was allowed to play the game he plays. See what I'm saying, guys? That helped him. You guys know the deal, man. I'll catch you guys on the next one.